Okay, hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Social Security. And we're going to talk specifically about Social Security planning and what baby boomers need to know. You know, when your parents retired, they probably didn't think too much about Social Security. They just went down to the local office when they turned 65 or maybe 62 if they retired early, and they signed up, applied for benefits. They took them for granted, didn't ask too many questions because it was pretty simple. But today, baby boomers have a different dynamic going on. But before we get into all that, I want you to remember that there's a difference between education and advice. This is not advice. Information can lead to education, but even good education shouldn't be accepted as advice. Advice is something that happens only when your specific situation is fully understood and there's an application process, applying the knowledge to a specific situation. That's when it becomes advice. Okay, here's a little bit of my background. I'm not going to spend much time on this. I've been doing this for a long time, as you can see, and retirement is all I've done. It is my practice. It's everything I've done ever since, 1991. And before that, I built some businesses, and you can see the stuff that's on here. If you want to read it, you can pause the slide and go from there. Let's take a look at what we need to talk about. Most people really tend to minimize the value of Social Security. Many people, if they believe they're going to get something back from the system at all, they think it's going to be a minimal amount or not enough to count on or any of that. I've been hearing that mantra for over 40 years. But Social Security is far more valuable than most people realize. Think about it. Think about what is the value of a stream of income you can't outlive. If you were to put a value on that stream of income, what would it be? Well, the yield on a 10-year bond, as we record this today, is somewhere in the neighborhood of around 4%. Now, if your Social Security check is, say, $3,000 a month, that's $36,000 a year. Take $36,000 divided by 0.04, and you find that it represents a yield of about $900,000 worth of bonds. That's almost $1 million worth of bonds. Except bonds don't have cost of living increases, and Social Security does. So that tells you the value of Social Security could be pretty great. It's also one of the few sources of income that you can't outlive. If you're worried about running out of personal assets in your old age, you don't really have that fear with Social Security because it continues until you die. Yeah, I know they say the trust fund's going broke. That's a different program, and I can talk about that for a while. But the bottom line is your benefits are going to be there because politicians like to get reelected. All right. So they'll have to fix it, and there's a number of ways they could do it, but that's information for another program. But it's important to understand that the longer you live, the more you extract from the system. Now, if your benefit starts at $2,000 a month, so you can see the chart here on your screen. If your benefit starts at $2,000 a month and you live 10 years, that's almost $300,000 worth of money you're going to get over your lifetime. In 20 years, almost $600,000 worth of benefits. And if you live 30 more years, you'll live nearly $1 million. That's what you'll get over your lifetime. And that's at a 2% COLA. And frankly, I think 2% is probably fairly a realistic figure to work with. Now, second, I said that it's better than annuity because Social Security has annual inflation adjustments. So if your benefit starts out at $2,000 a month and your annual COLAs are 2%, in 10 years you'll be getting about $2,400 a month. In 20 years, you can see it's about a little just under $3,000. And in 30 years, it's over $3,500, $3,623. Now, there's no way of knowing what future COLAs are really going to be, but like I said, that's probably a pretty decent figure to work with. So, when your Social Security benefit is calculated, it's going to be based on two things: how much you earned over your working career and the age at which you applied for benefits. That's pretty much it. So, now we get into the complicated stuff. The formula for calculating Social Security is pretty complex, and you may be don't even want to follow along with this, but I'll go through it, try to make it as simple as possible. Some people, they find this interesting. They're nerds like me. But the general process goes like this. Social Security looks at your annual earnings over your entire lifetime. It indexes them for inflation, and it picks the 35 highest years of earnings to include in their formula. Now think about that. It's the 35 highest years that they include in their formula. Now the indexed earnings are totaled, divided by the 35 to come up with an average. Now if you don't have 35 years worth of earnings, or if they're missing years for whatever reason, maybe you took time off out of the workforce for whatever reason. If you don't have 35 years worth of earnings, the missing years are filled in with zeros. So that is going to lower your benefit. So one thing you can do, of course, is work a little longer or something like that. But at any rate, to get back to our average there, they average the 35 years and they come up with an average. Now that formula that they're going to use is applied to the average indexed monthly earnings, AIME. They love those acronyms. Average indexed monthly earnings. The formula is applied to that to determine your primary insurance amount, what they call a PIA. This is the amount you'll receive when you reach full retirement age, which could be 66, 67, or some age in between. Each year, COLAs are applied, that's the cost of living index, COLAs are applied to your benefit to help you keep up with, the cost of living, of course. So what's the formula? How does it work? Here's an example how it would work for a baby boomer born in 1964 who earned Social Security maximum every year at the age and since the age of 22. When you applied this formula, you can see the calculations there, kind of it's typical government calculations there. The slide shows that basically the average index monthly earnings work out to be $14,358.10. Well, that's basically about $4,216.90 a month. That's what the worker would receive at the full retirement age. You notice the first 1,286 is multiplied by 90%. Then the amount between 1,286 and 7,749, that's about $6,463. That's multiplied by 32%, and the amount over 7,749, which in this case would be $6,609, is multiplied by 15%. They total them up, they get the PIA of 4216.90. I told you it was complicated. Here's the good news. You don't have to figure this stuff out. Full retirement age is the age at which you can claim full, unreduced benefits. Now, it used to be 65 for everybody, but now we're seeing higher full retirement age being phased in as the result of the 1983 amendments. So for everyone born between 1943 and 54, full retirement age is 66. For people born in 1960 or later, full retirement age is 67. And for those born in 1955 through 59, retirement age is 66 plus some number of months. But we have an aging population, as you probably know, and that's the reason for the constant adjustments. Now, what if you apply for early benefits? Remember what I said earlier. Your primary insurance amount, the PIA, is the benefit you'll receive at full retirement age. So, what happens if you retire or apply for benefits before full retirement age? Well, your benefit will be reduced. You'll receive a percentage of the PIA depending on when you apply. If your full retirement age is 66, for example, and you apply at 62, you'll receive about 75% of your PIA. If you were at 63, it's going to be 80%. If your full retirement age is 67 and you apply at 62, you'll receive 70% of your PIA. Now, these amounts, believe it or not, are prorated monthly. So you can apply any time after 62 and your benefit will reduce by the appropriate amount with the monthly prorate. On the other hand, if you apply for Social Security after full retirement age, after you wait, you're going to earn delayed credits of 8% for each year you delay. Now that is a pretty good deal. So if your retirement age is 66 and you apply at 67, your benefit will be 8% higher. That's 108% of your PIA. If you wait till 68, it'll be 16% higher, 116% of your PIA. After age 70, though, you don't get any more delayed credits, so it doesn't pay to wait after age 70 to apply for Social Security. That's the limit there. So, you're probably not too interested in calculating your AIME, your PIA, all those reductions, the credits, late filing fees, COLA adjustments, and all of that stuff by hand. You don't have to. There are ways you can easily find out approximately the amount of benefits you can expect to receive. Number one, go to your Social Security statement. Now, these are available online now. You can go to My Social Security, My Account. You can see there /My Account. Just set up an account by answering a number of security questions, and they're there to protect you. My wife and I have done it. I heartily recommend it. I think you should do it. I think you'll find it very worthwhile. You can also use the retirement estimator on your Social Security account. Now, this calculator in your Social Security account will actually tap into your specific earnings history because they have it there, of course. And after you enter some personal identifying information, again, to protect you, but it's for your security, you'll be able to get their estimator. Now, there's one thing to understand about Social Security's retirement estimator. The estimator does not factor in COLAs, cost of living adjustments. It doesn't factor those into your age 70 benefit. It means, and of course what that means is that your actual benefit is going to be higher because they won't put in COLAs. And the reason is very simple. They don't want to be responsible for making assumptions that you count on. So that's the way it is. But one thing that's very important is our calculators do adjust. It's part of the planning process. So if you know your PIA, I could actually help you project your future benefits. But you can also try one of the three calculators on the Social Security website at Benefits Calculators. You can see it down there, the third one on the screen there. And take a look at their calculators. I think you'll find the site very interesting and very worthwhile. Now, the decision when to apply for benefits. Well, it's one of the most important questions you're going to have to figure out, and it is a little bit complicated because it can make a difference of thousands of dollars, maybe tens, who knows, maybe hundreds, I have no idea, thousands of dollars over your lifetime. It's also important to realize the decision of when to apply depends on many factors unique to your own situation. And you can see the factors there. What is your health status, your life expectancy? What is your need for income? It depends on, your spending habits and all of that. Whether or not you plan to work. If you have a surviving spouse, that's a consideration worth thinking about. And whether or not you have other resources and what the source of those resources are. When to apply? It's a complex question and it requires a customized analysis. But here are a few points you can maybe jot down here. If you apply early, your benefits are going to be some fraction of your PIA, 75%, 80%, or whatever. Here's what's important. It remains that percentage for the rest of your life. You cannot go back and change it. It does not go up to 100% when you reach full retirement age. If you take the lower benefit, that's what you're stuck with the rest of your life. Now, there are COLAs. But the COLAs apply to that lower amount, not the full amount you would have received, which means the COLAs magnify the impact of delayed retirement because of the annual cost adjustment is applied to a lower rather than higher amount. The disparity increases as time goes on. So the when to apply question impacts survivor benefits too. Often, if there's a high-earning spouse and a lower-earning spouse, it's better for the high-earning spouse to delay the benefits to age 70 because that will give the surviving spouse a higher benefit after the higher-earning spouse passes away. So that's important to understand. Let's look at some strategies for maximizing benefits. First thing you can do, improve your earnings record. Check your Social Security statement. Again, you can get it online. Now, mistakes are rare. Because, their earnings are kept on file with Social Security. They're reported by your employers over the years and all that. So Mistakes are very, very, very rare, but they can happen, especially for self-employed individuals whose earning records are taken from tax returns. Now, the next thing to consider is how you can improve your earnings record. If you don't have 35 years of earnings, you can work a few more years so you get rid of those years that are filled in with zeros. Remember that? If you had several years of low earnings early in your career, work a few more years now in your peak years, and that'll replace the lower earnings that are back in the early part, because it takes the highest 35 to average. So if you can add more higher earnings years, it'll drop off some of the lower ones. Now, it's important to know this. If you start receiving Social Security before you reach full retirement age, and if you earn over $21,240 a year, $1 in benefits will be withheld for every $2 that you earn over the threshold amount. But, strategy number 2 for maximizing Social Security is to apply for benefits at the optimal time. So far we've talked about delaying benefits, because that's the result that'll give, the highest lifetime benefit for you and your spouse. But there is no one-size-fits-all answer to that question. It's important to apply for benefits at the time that's right for you. One important consideration in deciding to apply for benefits, whether or not you plan to work. If you apply before you turn full retirement age and you earn more than $24,480, like I said, $1 in benefits will be withheld for every $2 you earn over $24,480. But here's something you need to know. The money isn't truly taken away. That's right, it's not. Rather, your benefit is adjusted upward when you've turned full retirement age and make it as if you had applied later. This means that if some of your benefits were withheld due to the earnings test, your new benefit will be higher as if you had started at 63, 64, 65, or whatever, instead of 62. So don't let the earnings test discourage you from working. The more money you earn, the more money you'll have. It's that simple. Now, contrary to myth, Social Security does not penalize you for working. Once the adjustment is made, you will end up with a higher benefit for the rest of your life. And of course, the earnings themselves will contribute to your financial well-being. Now, if you want to avoid the earnings test entirely, just wait. Wait till full retirement age before you apply for benefits. It's that simple. Strategy number 3 for maximizing your benefits is to coordinate your spousal benefits. You want to maximize income for both of you while you're alive and maximize the income for the survivor after one passes away. Now, it can be complicated, but that's why we have advisors with, software and all that kind of sophisticated stuff. It can be complicated, but by understanding all your considerations and doing the calculations, it's possible for married couples to come up with the right solution that's going to meet all of their needs. Now, did you know that part of Social Security benefits could be taxable? Strategy number 4 to maximize your benefits is to minimize your taxes. Now, you can minimize your Social Security taxes by lowering your other income, especially investment income. For example, here's something a lot of people don't know. Did you know that municipal bond interest, which is usually tax-free, counts as income for the purpose of calculating the tax on Social Security? That's right. Also, if you have a big IRA, it means at some point you're going to have required minimum distributions, and the larger your IRA, the larger those RMDs. And they can cause you to be in a higher tax bracket at retirement. And that may force you into a bracket where some or more of your Social Security benefits are subject to tax. Well, you might consider drawing down IRAs before age 73 or converting a traditional IRA to Roth IRA, and you can do it in stages over time, but it'll generate tax-free income. Also, delaying claiming Social Security will reduce the number of years the benefits are subject to tax. And think about how to reduce your expenses, how to pay down debt, a number of simpler lifestyle choices that can also make a difference. But it's important to manage taxes throughout your retirement, not just the first few years. So as always, consult with your tax advisor, your financial advisor. If you don't have a financial advisor, I wonder who you could call. Let me think. Okay, number 5 for maximizing Social Security benefits is to coordinate Social Security with your overall retirement income plan. And if you don't have one, you should have one. It's important to consider Social Security in the context of other retirement resources. Your pensions, your IRAs, 401ks. Remember, required minimum distributions are needed starting at age 73 for most people. And your overall investment portfolio, and also your plans for working in retirement. All of these have to be coordinated to give you the income you need for the rest of your life and send as little as possible to Washington because Uncle Sam is one of your beneficiaries. Now, don't be afraid to ask for help. Retirement planning feels easy during your working years. You're just stashing money, throwing money at your retirement plan. But when it's time for you to convert your nest egg into an income stream, when the accumulation stage becomes the decumulation stage, you want to make sure that your money doesn't run out. Social Security may be the bedrock of a retirement plan, but it has to be coordinated with other sources to give you the stability you need. So, well, we've covered a lot of ground here. And you probably still have questions. I've listed some of them here. When to apply? What do you keep working? What if you've already applied? What do your benefits should be? How do I coordinate my spousal benefits? What's the best plan for us? What do we do next? Well, obviously, I'd be happy to help you consider each one of these questions individually, help you come up with a comprehensive financial plan for your personal situation, because that's what I do, and it's what I've been doing since 1991. Social Security is too important for guesswork because many decisions have lasting and irreversible consequences. If I can be of help, here's our website, indfin.com. Go to the Getting Started page on the site, and there's a priority review thing on there. It gives you a chance to tell me what are your priorities, what are the things you're concerned about, and I won't see it unless you tell me, unless you send it to me. But it's a good thing for you to look at. And then we can go from there. On the Getting Started page, after you submit the priority review, you can book a introductory phone call with me, and we'll go online together, and you can do it from the comfort of your home. Unless you'd like to meet at the office, I'm happy to do that. And we can go from there. So, if I can be of any service to you, let me know. Good talking to you, and I hope you enjoyed the program. Take care.